around without being shady. Who knows the values, who's gone through trials. Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist, that cinnamon twist, that cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you feel me? That cinnamon twist, that cinnamon twist, that cinnamon twist. Ladies, can you hear me?
During our first 30 minutes and another one during the second 30 minutes. Hello everyone, welcome to WBGR, hanging with your girl Tasha. We're having your girl Tasha a little bit off right now, but that's all right, guys. Today in the studio, we have with us Miss Makeba Gibbs. She's a candidate in Charles County for the judge of the circuit court. And she's here to talk to you guys so you can have an idea about why you should give her your vote, okay? If you guys are not aware, we have the primary elections. They are coming up on June 26th. They're going to happen from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And then there's early voting going on from June 14th to the 21st from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And some of you guys do not realize that your local county elections and things of that nature is just as important as the White House. So over here, how you doing today? Thank you for coming in the studio.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here. And you're very right. These elections are very important. The local elections are very important.
Tell them exactly, because a lot of people well, first of all, people think that those in-between elections, anyway, if it's not the 4 years with the president, that they shouldn't go out and vote at all. But can you share with the audience why you believe that is very important?
Sure. Well, the numbers traditionally are low for primaries and for gubernatorial. So it's every 4 years it's either the president or the governor. And so every 2 years, it's going to alternate between one of those two races. And most people, because you hear on the news, if the governor does anything big in your county, that affects your county, you're going to hear about that on the news, and you'll also hear about the president. And with the president now, you're hearing about almost every day something about the president. But it's your local officials that actually make policies that will affect you day to day, because they really are understanding that and they're working for that. As judge, the people in your county will appear before the circuit court or the district court judges.
Okay, so if you're running for a judge of the circuit court, can you explain how the circuit court falls into the structure of the court system and how important it is?
Sure. So in every county in Maryland and Baltimore City, there are two courts. The lower court is the district court, and you'll hear misdemeanors there, DUI cases, protective orders, some protective orders, and most of the misdemeanors and like thefts, petty thefts. The circuit court is the higher court, and that's the immediate court that the district court appeals to. And you'll hear more serious felonies. Jury trials are in the circuit court. There are also family law cases that are heard there. So decisions are made about custody, child support, visitation, and juvenile cases are also heard in the circuit court.
Okay, so I guess that you kind of explain. Some people want to know what type of, you kind of talked about your roles and what type of cases that you will handle in that role as judge. Why is this important to people? Are you like the final say, or how does it impact the community?
It impacts it very much. I'd say on the criminal side, a lot of the cases that you'll hear about on the news where there may have been a violent crime, or there may be a business that has had a burglary, the circuit court judge has a lot of discretion as far as how they deal with that defendant. And also with family law cases, family cases are very, they're very emotional. The judge has to decide in some cases, if they can't be worked out, where the children go, how much visitation there is, and it's just something that's very emotional for people at that time, but the judge has a say in that. And then also the juvenile cases, they'll decide whether or not there needs to be some I guess they can decide, like in juvenile cases, the reason why I'm breaking up is because the juvenile cases, they're not criminal cases.
Okay.
They are cases where the judge can decide to do some reform for them.
Okay, so explain to everyone, because of course you're on here because you want to make sure that the community of Charles County is educated so they can make an educated vote. Can you explain to them why is it that you're choosing to run for this position?
I really want to make a difference. I've been doing that. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to go to law school, is to make a difference in people's lives. And by doing that, I've been able to help a lot of people. The judges help even more. And they make decisions that are very crucial and affect a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I want to do that. It's really it's really a natural progression to what I'm doing now for someone who really loves the law and someone who believes in justice.
Okay, so a lot of people can have that passion to want to help, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that person is experienced or has the skill set to let them know. So what type of experience do you have that you're bringing to the table that makes you qualified for this position?
Well, I was a public defender for 9 years, so I was in court almost every day. I've done over 40 jury trials. I've done, I'd say, over 80 bench trials. That's where just the judge hears that in district court and in circuit court. And so I have that experience. And that experience means that I've dealt with a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds and some very trying situations. And I'm not only dealing with my client, I'm dealing with the state's attorney and also with the client's family. So I have that experience. And then for the last 4 years, almost 4 years, I've been in private practice. And so I've been able to broaden my experience base and hear more cases like custody cases. I've been handling custody cases, contract dispute cases, special education law cases. So I have a breadth of experience that I bring to the bench, that I'll be bringing to the bench.
You have Miss Loretta Graham saying, "Hello, Judge Gibbs."
Oh, my goodness, that's a good friend of mine.
She's giving you the title already. She's saying, "Hi, Judge Gibbs." Hey, Loretta. And thank you, Miss Diamond, for your compliment. She said, "We're fashionistas today." Thank you so much.
It's our necklaces, I think.
Okay, so with you mentioning that you deal with a whole bunch of different, I guess, types of people, what type of people do you come in contact with? And what kind of personalities do you have to interact with, and how do you handle those difficult type of personalities? Because we have to learn how to talk individual languages.
I think the experience that I have that best prepares me for this job is working as a public defender, because I dealt with so many different personalities. So I may deal with someone who has no idea how to navigate the criminal justice system, and they're just confused and they're afraid. So I've dealt with that person, and I have to take my time and explain it to them and make sure they understand what is involved in the process. And then the other type of person is someone who has experience and maybe is so uncomfortable that they're agitated by having to be in the courthouse. So that person, you just have to be calm. You have to always bring them back to the procedure, because I think that they think it's a lot of different things, but it really isn't. It's like it's a procedure. It's a way that we're going to go through this system. You have rights, and you're going to be heard at some point. So I think people are afraid that they're going to be hurt by the system, but really you will be heard.
Thank you for sharing, Terrence. Everyone, please make sure that you do share this on your page and invite people, because we want to make sure that the information about our candidates today do get out so that people can know their choices and why they should vote for people. So that's speaking to the aspect of your clients. I guess that you have to interact with other people, the people that are your peers, that are lawyers and things like this. As judge, if you are able to secure that seat, how are you going to interact when you maybe see fellow colleagues, other lawyers that you worked with in the past? They might be like, do me a favor here. Don't be so hard on me and my client, all this other kind of stuff. How are you going to deal with that with regards to, I guess, being impartial?
Right. It's very important for a judge to be fair and impartial. So regardless of who's presenting the case, you have to listen to all of the facts of the case and apply the law to those facts just for that specific case. So it wouldn't be appropriate for a judge to say, well, I know this attorney better than the other, and to make a decision based on that. It's really important for a judge to be fair and impartial.
Okay. Thank you. Loretta has also shared for you. Please share and invite Loretta. We appreciate you here.
Thank you.
So I want to know from your point of view, if you were not running for the position, what type of things do you think that people should consider when they decide to give a person vote to be judge with the circuit court?
I think you should consider their personality. consider whether or not this is someone that you would trust to make decisions, very important decisions in your life. Is that person, do you think that that person has the experience not only in the courtroom but just in their personal life to say, okay, I can make a decision based on the experiences that I've had? And so are they involved in the community? When you see them in court, are they calm? When you see them out in the community, are they open? Do they make eye contact? Are they available? Do they make themselves available? So I think that those are the types of things, qualities that I bring to the courtroom, and I would like to see, and I also think that people should be looking for when they decide who to vote for.
Usually when we have morals and we have qualities that we want to display, it's because we've had some kind of past experience where maybe as an individual we felt that we were wrong. So we want to make sure that someone else doesn't have to experience that. Do you have any something from the past that you thought took place and that you want to make sure that someone else who comes into your courtroom will not have to experience?
You mean as far as in my personal life? Well, I'd say as an attorney,
being in the courtroom, even as an attorney, maybe your client was treated a certain way that you felt that this just was not right, that this judge did this in this manner, or maybe you saw another attorney that you may not felt provided the best representation for that client. So what sticks out in your head is maybe that experience that's like, okay, I'm never going to do that myself.
I think just personalizing, having the people feel like, I care about each and every case that comes into this courtroom. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take the time to listen to you, and you're going to understand that you're going to get your day in court. And I think that's what people get a little frustrated and stressed out when they come to court. And I want them to understand, explain to them what my role is and kind of what the process is going to be to kind of calm their nerves. I will say that there wasn't a time that I was before a judge, and it appeared that she was going to place someone on probation before I was finished with my presentation. And towards the end, she had changed her mind. And so I think it's really important for a judge to hear an attorney out and not kind of decide before the cases has been fully presented to them.
Right. In the union world, we call that bargaining in good faith. You don't want to walk into agreements. You don't want to walk into a courtroom where someone has already had I've already made my decision. I don't even want to hear what you say. That's just not the right way. So tell me, I think that integrity would be huge when it comes to the position that you're seeking. How do you define integrity when it comes to a courtroom?
I think that as an attorney, it's very important to have integrity. So when I say to a judge, when I present something to a judge, a fact to a judge, the judge should feel I can depend that what Ms. Gibbs is saying is actually true. And so there shouldn't be any ambiguity as far as that's concerned. And as far as integrity of the bench, it's the same thing that we were talking about before. Are you making the decision based on what you hear in the courtroom, and you're not being influenced by anyone outside of the courtroom, anyone who may have a special interest in that? You're basing it on the facts of the case that's presented before you and the law that applies to that case.
Okay. Sounds good to me. You are just doing so excellent.
Thank you.
So, tell me, what type of involvement? People want to not just know about the candidate, Makeba Gibbs. They want to know about the person, Makeba Gibbs. So if there's something that you want to know about you as a person, as far as your involvement in the community or things like that, what do you do outside the courtroom?
Well, I want to say first, even though this isn't necessarily a community, I'm part of a family. I'm a daughter. I'm the second born. And I have an older brother and 3 younger siblings, and I'm very close with them and my nieces and nephews. So I always try to pour back into them, my family, and the younger people in my family.
Okay.
In addition to that, I've done Big Brothers, Big Sisters, which I really enjoy. And when I say that, I think people just kind of like, oh, she mentors. No, you commit to about 4 hours a month. So that comes down to every other week. You're working with one person, and you get to know their family. And the 2 that I've mentored over the last, I've been in Charles County for 13 years now, that I've been to graduations for them, and I'm invited to their home.
Aww.
And so I'm very proud of that. I'm also very involved in the legal community, which is important too, to know the other attorneys and kind of get a better idea of what other types of law that you may not be practicing, getting up to speed on those. And I was the president of the Charles County Bar Association, and it's a slate, so I was in every other position up until then. And I also started the Salome Howard Bar Association, which now, 6 years later, raises a lot of money for scholarships for the students at the College of Southern Maryland. So that's really exciting.
Did y'all hear that? Scholarships. Okay. Now, you mentioned in 13 years in Charles County. Is that where all your experience comes from in the law, or?
It does, and I did clerk. I clerked in D.C. Superior Court, and I worked on abuse and neglect cases, very serious abuse and neglect cases.
Okay.
So that was my first experience
so
in the law.
So with you living in Charles County, with you actually practicing and doing law in Charles County, then that would mean that you truly do have an investment in the county, and you want to see things improve. Then what type of things would you like to see improved because of you being placed into this role? How are you going to impact the community?
Well, I do own a home in the community. I've been there for 13 years, as you've said. I've worked there. I opened my practice there, and I'm very much committed to giving back. It could be just as simple as someone saying, hey, my daughter or son, and I think that happened right before we came in here, is interested in going to law school. They can meet with me. They can shadow me. And when I'm a judge, if elected, they can come and visit me in chambers, and they can, I can be a mentor for them. So I plan on doing that. And then there's an opportunity to speak in the community, just about things that, I've observed and feel that there's a need to have some education, further education in the community on. I certainly would be open to doing that, and I plan to do that.
Okay, so tell me, what are you going to do? Because if you've been doing this in the courtroom as an attorney for 13 years, it sounds like it might be something that you love and you enjoy. So, upon election, you're going to have to leave that behind. Mm-hmm. Do you see any kind of pros or cons with, being a judge or leaving the courtroom?
Well, as an attorney, you do feel like Superwoman with a cape, as you're helping people, and at the end of the day, I still see some of my clients, and they give me a big hug. I was just at brunch the other day, and a woman said, "You represented me." Actually, yesterday it happened too. It happens quite a bit, and so I will miss that. But as a judge, you'll hear so many more cases. I will hear so many more cases, and I'll be able to help just a broader range of people. I've been told that the position can be isolating because you're in chambers. You're not actually working in an office with people anymore. And again, you can't allow yourself to be influenced by anyone, so you can't really move in some of the same circles that you've moved before, just to make sure that it's impartial. Your decisions are impartial. So it may be somewhat isolating, but I'll have colleagues not only in my county but in other counties that I know will reach out to me and make me feel welcome and make sure that I have someone to talk to.
Okay, so it sounds like you want to do this for impact. I want to thank you, Paula, for sharing. Thank you, Cheryl, for sharing. Welcome, Derek. If anyone has any kind of questions, just type your questions in the comments, and we will try to address them as time allows too. Accomplishments. What do you find to be your biggest accomplishment in your current position as an attorney, and then as a person? What do you feel has been your biggest accomplishment?
Well, as an attorney, certainly when I was at the Public Defender's Office, I handled a lot of cases, and I believe that I handled them with grace. I believe that every single person, whether it was a driving while suspended or a very serious charge like a robbery charge, felt that I took the time to hear them and to really fight for them in that case. So I'm really proud of that. And then going into private practice is very challenging, because you're not only a business person, you're also a lawyer, so you're also advocating. And so I'm very proud of the fact that I chose to open a practice here in La Plata, not here, but in La Plata, and just stay there in the community. And it's been almost 4 years, and I feel like it's really done well. People know that I'm out in private practice, and I've got a good reputation with people in the community, so I'm extremely proud about that. And in my private life, again, I mentioned my family at the beginning, and my nieces and nephews. They're coming of age. Some of them are in their 20s now. And I just know that I've always given back in the sense of mentoring them and being that voice of encouragement and them pursuing their goals. And an example, obviously.
Okay, all right. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So, how many, because I don't know, how many opponents do you have?
There are 2 seats, and there are 3 candidates.
Okay. And if you do a comparison, for instance, I went to a community event the other day, and it was a candidate that was running for sheriff. And I thought it was very good because he had a little chart that kind of pointed out and checked off the different things that each candidate has to show how he lined up against them, across from them. So if you look in yourself and in your head and you create you a chart of qualifications that the judge would need to have, how do you feel that you line up against the other candidates? What makes you stand out with them?
Well, I believe that my experience is varied. I have the civil experience and the criminal experience, and also my involvement in the community and the amount of time that I've spent in the community. Every area has kind of a different culture to it, and in order to really understand the area where you're going to be sitting and where you're going to be serving, I think you have to be there for quite a while to get a feel for that. But definitely my experience being the very different types of cases that I've handled, not just criminal, but also civil, has, I think, prepared me really well for the position. And I think that makes me stand out. And I would also say that my personality, I think that from the very beginning, people can pick up on the fact that I care, that I'm going to be taking the time to understand understand the issues involved in each case. So, I think that's how I would stand out. I think that's how I differentiate myself from them.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think that we may have a call coming in. Let's see for a moment here. Hello, it's Hanging with Your Girl Tasha. Who do we have calling in?
Good evening. This is Paula. Hi, Tasha.
Hi, how are you? And you are a Charles County resident?
Yes, I am. I've only been here 5 years, but I'm so glad that you have some of the people who we will be voting for on your show. And I just wanted to say to Ms. Gibbs, it is an absolute joy to watch you, and because it's good to see strong African American women representing our county so well. Thank you for your commitment and your strength to the community and all the work that you've done so far. I am elated to see you there.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I get that kind of feedback a lot in the community, and it really just does give me energy to continue forward and letting the voters know who I am, because I get that, on a daily basis. So it is really exciting. But again, I've put the work in. I've put the time in. And, I put myself out there in a way to give back to the community. And it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy at all, because you see parts of people's personality that you don't really see just going to the grocery store or going to the post office. You see them under very stressful situations. You see them facing some very serious issues and making very serious decisions. And so when you see that, it's just very important for you to stay calm and to help them navigate that system. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Welcome. I apologize. I'm getting it's a feedback on the phone, but I just want to say thank you once again, and thank you for your service, and best wishes.
Thank you, Paula. Have a
You're
great
welcome.
day. She put the comment in there, and I thought that was such a sweet comment that she needed to call in and say it to you directly.
I appreciate that.
So how do people find out more information to you? Because, of course, we're limited in our amount of time here, but where should they go to find out more information about you?
Well, I have a Facebook page. That's Elect Makeba Gibbs, and I also have a website, which is www.electmakebagibbs.com. And if you go to the Facebook page, there is a phone number that you can call, and someone will get in touch with me, and I can call you directly if you have any questions and speak to you personally.
Okay, and as far as I'm sure as a candidate, you need some funds.
Oh, exactly.
So do you have any upcoming events, or is there a way that those people who see you as Paula calling in and feel that you are the right type of candidate for you, how can they contribute? Can they help you? Because, of course, it's not just about money.
That's right.
Sometimes it's about door knocking.
That's right.
Sometimes it's about phone banks and things of that nature. So what opportunities or what events do you have coming up where the community could show that they support you?
Well, I have an event on the 26th, which is the last Thursday of the month, and that's an AR workshop. It's like a sip and paint, only we're doing some woodworking. There's only 30 seats in that, so if you're interested in doing that, I would sign up for that, and that's on my website to get information about that. And then I will be having a cookout in May, and that information will be on my website as well. And you do not have to come to the event. If you would like to contribute, you certainly can go on my page. If you want to help out with the campaign, you can go on the page to volunteer, and then there's a link there to make a campaign contribution.
Okay, and if somebody wants to, are there any type of like yard signs or anything that's available to people, and how would they get that?
I do have yard signs, and again, you could just go on electmakebagibbs.com, and there will be a link there that shows you if you want to volunteer, that you check whether or not you want to do yard signs, like you said, phone banking or knocking on doors. This is truly a grassroots effort, and I would really appreciate it if you know people in Charles County that you get the word out and share my page and like my page.
Okay, well, Miss Makeba, it has been a true pleasure to have you. I wish you the best of luck. I think that you shared a lot of information with everyone here. And at this time, we're going to go ahead and break to a commercial, and then we'll be bringing in our next Charles County candidate and see what she has to say.
You spend a total of 3 years of your life on the toilet, with an unavoidable portion of that in a public restroom. Public restrooms are notoriously intimidating, often missing stuff you need the most. And let's not talk about the bacteria and germs, even if the restroom looks clean. Germs spread when you flush the toilet. There's contaminated toilet paper, germy sinks, and blow dryers. It's a jungle of germs in there. But sometimes you really have to go. So you have to do this, and 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 even this. And ladies, you're twice as likely to encounter harmful germs. You know you're going to have to go again. So protect your bottom with the restroom kit, a convenient and discreet package containing the most essential products to help you stay protected in an inadequate or unsanitary restroom. It's guaranteed to have what you need: toilet paper, tush wipe, hand wipe, and a patented oversized toilet seat cover, pre-sealed and individually wrapped for on-the-go convenience. Designed with your whole family in mind, the restroom kit works when you need it the most and gives you confidence and cleanliness wherever you go. Take the worry out of using a public restroom and protect your bottom with the restroom kit. Find us on Facebook or visit www.therestroomkit.com.
Hello, welcome back to Hanging with Your Girl Tasha. I am LaTasha Carpenter, and in the studio with me this morning, I have a very special guest. She is candidate for the Commissioner of District 6 of Charles County. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. District 4, District 6 is coming on later on. I'm sorry. But I'm sorry, Miss Dyotha Rene Sweat. So, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. Again, my name is Dyotha Rene Sweat. I am a resident of Charles County. I am a 24-year Navy veteran. I am a mother of two, a grandmother of one. I am a civil rights activist at heart. I believe in fighting for those who do not have voices, so I like to be an advocate for them. And that is basically what I have done in Charles County and abroad. So that's basically me in a nutshell.
Okay, well, I did not know about the Navy vet thing. I want to say to you that I want to thank you for your service and stuff. Want you to know we have someone on here saying, hello, top lady. Miss Alicia Dawson says,
Yes.
hello, top lady.
Yes.
That's a special name there.
Hello, Alicia.
So again, you're running for a commissioner spot in District 4, and I have to tell you, the commissioner position to most people is a very mysterious position because most people don't have a clue what a commissioner does. So I want you to share with everybody, what does a commissioner do?
Well, the commissioner is the leader. They're policymakers. They manage the budget, and they're responsible for making sure that the county is ran efficiently. So, in a nutshell, that's basically they're the figure. They're the leader in the county, and they are responsible for funding our education, school system, funding our sheriff department, and things of that nature. So when monies are needed, they come to the commissioners with a handout, and hopefully we have enough resources to provide them with what they need.
Oh wow! So you have, besides on the budget, money is always considered as some level of power,
Yes.
and that's a lot of responsibility. But are there any other levels of powers that the commissioner has within the county too? Because some people, when they hear that, when they think about the money person is supposed to be able to fix everything.
Yeah.
So I don't want people to just be coming to you, be like, "Look, I need you to fix this." So how high is your power, or how far does it spread across the county?
It spreads across. We are the economic development. They come to the commissioners with their plans, and the commissioners say yes or no to that. There are a lot of things that we, as I keep saying we because I'm trying to speak that into existence, but as the commissioners, we are definitely responsible for making sure that every moving piece in the county is taken care of. If there's an issue with a light, you call your commissioner, and the commissioner hands that off to the person that's responsible for that. Okay.
Lights like on the street.
Street lights.
Lights.
If there's an intersection that requires a light, you address that to the commissioners, and they take it to the board, and they do their analysis and things like that, and they deem it necessary or not. And if you see a new light that shows up, then they said yes, this is a good idea to make sure that we keep our citizens safe. So it's not just the money. They're the decision makers in the county, so it's not just the money.
So
that
speed bumps and all that stuff will probably be handled through that office as well.
Yes.
Okay, so let me tell you, as a union vice president, our secretary treasurer says that his role is the most important role because that's the role that could get you locked up. So a lot of people run away from those positions that can get you locked up.
Right.
Why is it that you want to run for this role of commissioner? Why do you want to take on these serious responsibilities?
Well, there's a lot of things that are changing about Charles County, and I am a solution-driven individual. I see a task at hand, and I want to get to the bottom of it. I am also a person that likes to network, and so when you're at that type of position, you need to be able to cross lines. You need to be able to collaborate, And so that's another thing that I do well is collaborate. I make sure that everyone in the room feels like they have stake in the game. Okay, and I am always rooting for the underdog. Okay, so I want to not only represent the citizens that have, but I want to be that voice for those that do not have. And so that's the reason why I decided to run, because I'm solution driven. I believe in collaboration. Without collaboration, you cannot be successful. And I want to make sure that that person that feels like they have no stake in the game, that they know that Dyotha will make sure that they have a stake in the game.
All right, so I think you might have touched a little touched a little bit on my next question, but you still might be able to expound on it. How many candidates are running? How many opponents do you have in your position?
Well, let's first let me say that I'm a Democrat. So let's get that out first. So for the Democratic candidates, there's the incumbent, Commissioner Rucci, and then we have another candidate that's Max Larson, myself as a Democrat, and then we have a Republican candidate. So there's a total of 4 people running for the position.
Okay, and what sets you apart from those other 4 people?
Well, because I have served in the military and have been exposed to different communities, different countries, I have the ability to see things in a different set of lenses. Okay. Because I have lived in a country where I was the outsider and didn't speak the language, and then had to navigate my way through that. I know what that feels like. Okay. I am a person that listens. Whether I agree or not, I listen, because any great leader understands that in order for you to get to the next level, you have to be able to bridge that gap. And if a person feels that you're not listening to what they have to say or what they bring to the table, then whatever value they have, they're going to take it elsewhere. So I listen. Okay.
What are some other, I like that word leaders. Some people think that leaders are people that are just dictators. What other qualities do you think that a leader should have to consider themselves to be a leader?
Well, one of my slogans for my campaign is sweat equity, and the other one is boots on the ground. And so when I was in the Navy, I would not ask none of my sailors to do anything that I was not willing to do myself.
Okay.
So as leadership, you must be able to do what you ask. Okay. And as leaders, you need to be able to say when you don't know, and be able to reach to one of your subordinates or your peers and ask for help. That's what leadership is. Leadership is knowing what your limitations are and being able to reach out and get the help that you need to make sure that you can fulfill the tasks that you're supposed to do.
Exactly, because if you know everything, you already be where you needed to be.
You don't need people on your team.
That's right. Everybody contributes to it.
Yes.
Exactly. I like that. I like that. Okay, so for District 4,
yes,
what part of Charles County does that cover?
And that is the mysterious question that everyone asks. And because of how the districts are mapped out, it's a little difficult on how to explain or navigate where that is. But I can say that a large chunk of the district is over by what we call the Blue Crab Stadium. It's St. Charles section of Charles County. But I actually live on the opposite side of 301, and I live in District 4. And when I tell people I live in District 4, they look at me puzzled, like, I thought that was District 3. But it's a little complicated. So what I normally do is I ask an individual where do they live when I'm out talking to potential voters, and then depending on the division or development they live in, then I can kind of tell them if they're in 3 or if they're in 4. So it's not as easy answer to that question.
Okay, so a lot of times when people talk to candidates, you know, sometimes the candidates kind of forget to talk about their platform or what their priorities are. So for you, can you share with us maybe your 3 top priorities that you want to take care of when you obtain the role of commissioner, and how do you plan on addressing or fixing those problems that you may see as potential problems or needs areas to improve?
Okay. Well, as a candidate, you have I have more than 3 things that I would like to work on, but I know that you can't do and fix things in a 4-year time period. So if I had to pick 3 things, it would be education, it would be a homeless situation we have in the county, and our veterans. Okay, so I pick education because I'm a big component of education. I know that without education, we will not be successful. And when you say education, you don't mean always college. Okay, so we are a nation that preaches college to everybody. So what happens to that student that is not college material, such as myself? Okay, because all my platforms speak to what things that I have experienced in life. Okay, so I didn't go to college. I decided to pick the military.
I didn't go to college either,
Okay.
and I didn't go to the military either. Although I did good on that ASVAB, they were trying to get me.
That 3-hour test.
Yes.
But the fact is that I want to fight for education equity. Okay, and what that means is the student that wants to go to college, good on you. The student that wants to work after high school, let's prepare them so we can say, good on you.
Right.
Okay, let's do the apprenticeship, the labor. We have to. America is such a great country. We are a melting pot, and so everybody has their niche. Everybody has their contribution, and so if we all preach just college, 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 the students like you and I, that were good students, but we didn't want to go to college after high school. And you know what? I have a bachelor's degree. I have a master's degree. And I'm working on my PhD. But I didn't do it directly after high school. I wasn't ready. I didn't want to. And so we need to afford our students with those opportunities. Okay, so my next thing would be homeless. I was at a very young age. We experienced a little stint of being homeless. Okay, a lot of people don't know that, and being that I have being a candidate, I'm kind of exposing some of myself to people, being a little vulnerable.
Transparent.
Yes, so we got evicted. Okay, so I know what that means and what it feels like.
I don't know if you guys can tell out there, and I'm sure that the people, I don't know if you're listening on the app, but I see a lot of emotion in you. We're talking about this.
Because, like I said, as a candidate, my platform is my life. Okay, and that's what I need to exhibit to people, to let them know that I am human just like you are. Okay, I was able to raise myself up and get to this level, but I want you to be able to do the exact same thing. But Charles County right now, we're number 3 in homeless tents.
Wow.
Maryland has 24 counties. We're number 3. We have 600 plus students that are homeless in our school system. So think about that number. So if there's 600 students, some of them have siblings. So that means that there's some little ones coming up behind them that are eventually going to add to that homeless number. And then those are just the numbers that we know. Okay, so I want to be able to address that. I want our babies to be able to have the same opportunities, because you know what? We were homeless for a summer, but the community stepped up. They made sure that me and my brother could still do the things that we needed to do, and while my mother was getting things back in line financially so that we can get it back into our own place.
You gotta raise a village, right?
It takes a village.
It takes a
Okay,
village.
and my third thing is the veterans. Now, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't fight for the veterans. Being a veteran has gotten me to where I am. That signing up to join the Navy was the single most important decision that I have ever made in my life. Everything after that was because I raised my hand and said I would support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America.
Okay, so what? Let's go back to the homeless. I clearly know that you have the passion there. What do you have in your mindset right now about how you're going to help to reduce those numbers? And I think the fact that you pointed out that there's 600 students in the school that are homeless, that also, of course, is going to tie into education. Because if the kids are going to school and they don't have nowhere to go home, how can they concentrate on what they're doing? So what is it that you want to try to implement to reduce the amount of people who are homeless in the community, and what type of things do you think needs to be put into place to assist in education? And as one person I know, one of the candidates I know that's running for a school board in Prince George's County, to allow the teachers to teach. What can you do as a commissioner to help improve in both of those areas?
Well, for the homeless, I went to an event last week or week before last where it was catered to nonprofit organizations. And so we have upwards of 400, don't quote me on the number, but we may have 500 nonprofits that's in the county. And most of the nonprofits are geared towards helping families, tutoring our students. And so we go back to why I'm running, collaboration. Okay, so if we have these resources in the county, we may not have the funding to bring aboard a new project, but we have nonprofits that are doing that. So what we now need to do is that we need to bring these nonprofits to the table and say these are what the needs are. Bring the Board of Education to the table. What are your real needs? I may see something, but what are the real needs that the teachers are telling you? We have the nonprofits here that can help. That's how we solve issues. We bring everybody to the table.
Yes, because some people come to the table, think they already know the solutions, and they don't want to hear. You can't be at the top and not listen to the people who are doing the work.
The foot soldiers, know what the real truth is. Okay, a lot of times as a leader, you may assume you know what's going on until you get into the trenches and start talking to the foot soldiers, and then what you thought and what's reality is two different things. And so that's the reason why collaboration is so important. So that is one of the things that I would do. So for the homeless situation, we have to fight for resources. Okay, a lot of people are moving into our county because it's a safe environment. We have good schools. And so if I'm homeless, at least I want my child to go to a good school.
Right.
Okay, so what we have to do is we have to figure out a way to combat that by increasing our level of resources. And I mean at the state level and at the federal level. Okay, we need to now inject our delegations, our state senators, our congressmen, and even at the state house. Help. This is what we have. And this is what we need. And let's prioritize it, and when funding comes available, we're ready.
All right. Some people, you spoke to that, a lot of people are coming to Charles County because they feel that it's safe. But I have heard some people express that they feel that there are some safety issues. So for the individual that's living in Charles County and they think that there are some safety issues, how do you plan to rectify those safety issues?
Well, safety to rectify is probably going to be a little difficult, but we do need to address it. So when I look at safety, I look at it from a holistic approach. Safety is not just about law enforcement. It's also about how quick people respond to casualties. Okay, so if I'm having a heart attack at home, how fast is the 911 going to get to me?
Right.
Okay, so if and then we now have to add our schools to this, because now we're finding out that our babies are going to school, and the potential is there. So we need to make sure we address that as well. So and then our roads, I'll add into the safety mixture as well, because we have 2 roads in and out of the county. So if something catastrophic happens, we cannot evacuate 100,000+ people. That's a safety issue. So we have to address the traffic. We have to address the Charles County Sheriff, make sure that the ratio to police officer to people match. We need to make sure that the ratio between EMTs and firefighters match the amount of people. We need to make sure that our roads, that we can evacuate if we need to, if we have a catastrophic Mother Nature comes in and is mad with Southern Maryland. We need to make sure that we can do that. So I look at safety as a holistic thing. And so as commissioner, again, we have to make sure we have the resources. We have to ask for help.
You know what? You have some people, some foot soldiers in here answering questions. People are asking, like, where's Bronze Road? Is that, am I in your district? But
well, let's first of all, let me educate the voters.
Okay.
Whether or not you live in District 4 or not, every Charles County voter votes for all 5 positions. There are 4 district commissioners and there's 1 president. So that's how I initially, when I go out and I talk to people, that's what I don't even share that I'm running for office. I ask, do you know we have an election coming up in June?
June 26th.
June 26th. And if they say yes, then I move to the next thing. Well, do you know that the commissioner positions, the Board of Education, the judges, the sheriff, the Senate, and the governor, do you know that these positions are up for election? And then some people say, most people say no. And then I go into letting them know that I'm running for office. I want them to be educated, because an educated voter is a dangerous voter, because they vote for the issues that really matter to them. And we want to make sure that people are voting for things that are going to move Charles County forward and not backwards.
Well, you got some people saying this is exactly what the world needs. People who truly care about people.
Well, I do. And this is who I am. And this is not candidate sweat. This is Dyotha Rene sweat. This is how I was raised. And this is how I like to treat people. I treat people how I want to be treated. And I want to be treated with love and respect. And that's what I do.
All right. Well, you know what? At the beginning, we talked about how people are not familiar with what commissioners do. I mean, I think if you ask the average person, when you hear the word commissioner, what do you think about? Somebody when you go to the jail and get locked up to and you talk to try to get bail. Yes. That's kind of all that people know about the commissioners. So to me, that means that, there's work that needs to be done in the communities, because people don't know about the commissioner. Right. And part of that work means that you have to be able to bridge the communities, and you have to be able to do something in the communities to make that position visible, so that when the next generation is asked, what does a commissioner do, they can say more. So when you're elected, how are you going to bridge that gap or make the commissioner position more visible to the community? What type of ideas do you have?
That's pretty simple. You go to the people. You go where they are. You don't expect people to come to you. Okay? When I was in charge, when I was in the Navy, I would go and I would sit down. We call it the mess decks. So as a chief petty officer, you can sit in your little isolated room, or you can go on the mess decks and you can talk to the sailors. Because the sailors are the one that run the ship, and when casualties happen, they save the ship. So I would go out on the mess decks and say, hey, what's going on? How's everything going? You have to you have to meet people where they are. Meet them where they are. And so as long as I'm running, and even if I win or lose, people will know what the commissioner position is supposed to do. And when it's not doing what it's supposed to do, they can say, okay, I know that you are not doing your job. Okay? So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to meet the people where they are.
Meet the people where they are.
You are typing like a Woody Woodpecker over there.
I am typing because these comments in here are the comments, I mean, the way that you're like reaching the audience is like so much. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say I was going to try to make it a surprise, but we have a special guest that has just dropped in. She's like, that's my mama. And then I see somebody say, Mookie Sweat, you have a great mother. And she's like, thank you. So, Mookie, you are having all the dialogue in there. Sweetheart, do me a favor. Call into 301-429-9247, and I would like you to share with our audience about why they should vote for your mother. So call in real quick, and we'll pick you up. 301-429-9247. She is in there. Talk about her mama. If you don't have at least one vote, you have that.
I got that.
So do you have any upcoming fundraisers that's going on, events and things of that nature? And if Mookie calls in, we're going to stop the conversation. But how can people find out information about you? How can they get your yard signs? I think you're very visible. Your pictures are all over the place and stuff like that. But what do you need from the community so that you can be elected?
I need you to vote. Plain and simple. I need you to vote. You know, activism without a vote at the ballot is just a conversation. Okay? You can tell me all day long that I got you, that I'm going to vote for you or whatever, but if you do not vote, it was just a conversation.
It's Hanging with Your Girl Tasha. Who do we have on the line?
Hi, this is Dyotha Sweat's daughter, Ashley.
Hey, Ashley.
How are
Hi.
you? Can you tell the audience, sweetheart, why they should vote for your mother? And turn your volume down in the background. We're getting a little bit of feedback.
Oh, part of my phone. I'm sorry. I cut the phone down. Can you hear me good?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I'm Ashley Sweat, Dr. Sweat's mom, and she should be elected because she's a great person, and she connects well with the people, and she's always helped me and my brother, and she'll always have benefit for other people. So she'll be a great candidate for commissioner of District 4.
All right, we thank you for your willingness to share your mom. You're okay with sharing, Mommy?
Did she hang up?
You still?
She's not crying on air.
No, she's not crying on the air. She got a little bit of glaze in her eyes, but she's okay right now.
Okay, thank you.
Love you, baby.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
They said make sure that the people go and register to vote, but finish telling them how they can help you.
Yes, well, we need you to register. And for those of you that have not voted in a midterm election ever in your lifetime, let's make history. Okay? It is wonderful to vote in an individual to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. But by the time that person makes a decision and it trickles down to you, it's just probably a different rule, a law by then. But the people that you elect in that midterm election, those are the ones that determine who governs the school system, how your property taxes are paid, how you're protected. This is important. And if you're not happy or you're just concerned, now is the time to exercise your right to vote and vote for the candidate that speaks to your heart. Vote for the candidate that speaks to the issues that affect you and your loved ones. And June 14th through the 21st is early vote. The 26th of June is the actual election day. Charles County, let's get on the map.
Hanging with Your Girl Tasha. Who do we have?
Yes, Brandy Billy.
Hi, Brandy. What would you like to say to candidate Sweat?
Yes, I just really want to talk to her regarding who she is as a person to speak to that today to her.
Okay, we have a couple of minutes. Go ahead and share.
Okay. Hello? Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is Brandy Billy. I'm actually the treasurer for Candace Sweat for her campaign.
Okay, and what would you like the people to know about her, Brandy?
I'm actually not even a resident of Charles County. I'm a resident of Prince George County. But during a tragic time in my life when I lost my daughter, she was there for me. The passion, the endurance, the strength, and everything that she brought to me at that time, that is something that Charles County needs. Everyone needs that, but Charles County specifically does need that. So I can only vouch for her to speak to that.
Thank you so much, Brandy, for calling in. And I wish I had more time to talk a little bit more here. We're limited to 30 minutes. We're about to shut down. But I thank you for calling in and sharing about that. You have her in tears right now, but that's okay.
All right, Team Sweat Equity, Dyotha.
Love you, girl.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. I mean, I'm gonna have to say this, and look, and I try to be impartial with people coming over here, guys. But I am a resident of Prince George's County too. But I think that I would not be doing justice if I wouldn't tell you guys about the type of energy that I'm feeling here in this room right now. The passion that you have shared with people, I can tell that is authentic, and people know as Your Girl Tasha, one of my favorite words is BAM, being authentically me, and I can detect other authentic people. And I want you to know, I don't know how much this means, guys, but I'm going to tell you, Miss Sweat got YGT, Your Girl Tasha's endorsement. If that means something, I am giving you my endorsement, because if I was in Charles County, I would absolutely vote for you, because I could tell that you have the people at heart and the type of heart that you have, and we appreciate you. So guys, I'm gonna have to close this out. Thank you for tuning in with Hanging Your Girl Tasha. Look for us next week, Mondays 5:30 to 6:30. I'm gonna have the Comeback Kid coming on. You want to hear about his story of how he's dealing with living with multiple sclerosis. It's a huge story. Make sure you come here and tune in next week. And guys, remember to get out there. June 26th, you gotta vote. Early voting also, guys, is going on from June 14th to June 21st. Do your job. Get out and vote. Bye-bye.
Lady who walks around without being shady, who knows her values, who's gone through trials. Her smiles are captured from mouth to mouth. It's not the size of her thighs she worries about, but the pride she thrives to keep that drive. That cinnamon twist. That cinnamon twist.